So basically a vulnerability scan it's an automated functionality. So you have a program that goes out and it identifies all the open ports that exist within a system or a group of systems based off of their IP address. Once it identifies the open ports, it attempts to identify what service exists at that particular port. Once it's identified the service, it then takes that information and compares it to a database to determine whether or not there are any CVEs that are associated with that particular service at that particular version number. And that's the extent of it. If the vulnerability or the CVE that's associated with it is something a little bit more in depth, where it's not just the service, but it's a build number, then it'll match that as well. Or if it's a service that has a particular version of protocol, then it's going to check that. But that's it. It's just an automated thing to say, hey, this exists or it doesn't exist. The potential for false positives is really high. The potential for false negatives as well can be pretty high. But as I stated before, it is purely automated. You don't have that human interaction where a person is looking at the information, identifying, hey, this particular port, I'm not getting anything back on it. An automated scan is going to go, I'm not seeing anything that I can use, so I'm going to skip that. In a penetration test, what would happen is the penetration tester might notice that, hey, this particular port is typically associated with XYZ, but because this other service is also here, I'm going to see if this particular port that I'm not finding anything on is related to this other service. And they're going to use that human brain power, so to speak, to identify potential anomalies and identify potential vulnerabilities that won't be identified through just an automated scan of checking if this matches this, then this. Even though in our brains it's still an if this, then this, but it's an if this, then this that can't be programmed.